already. Other thoughts on Thursday. How are you today? I hope you're well. I've been rushing around this morning. It's been a busy old morning, and it suddenly occurred to me when I sat down to do the live that I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about. I'd had no suggestions. Nobody had kind of asked me to talk about anything, and I thought, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And I just sat here, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because in that place where I don't know, I couldn't think about anything. And then I just thought, oh, what could I talk about? Let me have a think. And I just opened up some space. What came to me, whether this is going to be helpful or not, was to talk about something that somebody said earlier in the week, that their family member had said, well, eating disorders are a choice. You know, you can choose. These are a choice, so you can choose to get better. And I wonder what you guys think about this. And when I talk about eating disorders, I'm also talking about disordered eating. I'm talking about any struggle with food, weight, and our bodies. And, you know, I think we see that, yes, we have the ability to choose whether we put food in our mouth or not. We have that physical ability, but we don't choose a particular way of coping. Nobody decides one day, oh, I'm really anxious. I know what. I'm going to choose drugs to help me cope, or I'm going to choose food, or I'm going to choose restriction. I'm going to choose cigarettes to help me cope, or alcohol. We don't make that active choice. So I don't believe that any of these coping mechanisms are a specific choice they make. I think they're a process. And I think that process is that in a moment when we're feeling something tricky, we may either restrict and lose weight, or we use food, we eat. And somehow we get a good feeling from whatever activity we do with food in that moment. And because humans are searching for good feelings, our minds think, okay, next time we need a good feeling, we're going to do this. So we're going to repeat the food, or we're going to repeat the restriction and the weight loss. And it doesn't take many repetitions for it to become a habit in our mind, for that habitual behavior to become a habitual thought, so that all of a sudden, when we've got tricky times, our minds go, here's the solution, just don't eat, or just eat, or eat a large quantity, or eat a large quantity and purge. Whatever the flavor is of the behavior, we don't choose that as a coping mechanism. Our minds find something that helps, and they repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So for me, at no point would I say that difficult relationships with food and our bodies are a choice. Now, when we talk about recovery, it's not as easy as there is a choice. I don't believe. I think that there is something about, we do have to make an active choice to make things different. And that's sometimes the cruel thing about relationships with food and weight. We don't choose to get into them. We kind of slip into them and don't realize until we're in. But we do have to put in a lot of hard work to come out of them. And that feels a little bit unfair to me, but whoever said that the world needs to be fair? But in that choice, it's still not that simple. And I want to say this, and I think this is important to say, because I think it really needs a compassionate approach. Because you and I both know that we can't always see that we have a choice. We can't always see it's a choice between restricting and not restricting. It's a choice between binging and not binging. Because when we're in the midst of all this going on, all the busy thoughts and emotions, and we don't see that that's in charge, we very easily get pulled into those behaviors. Our mind really wants to find a solution for us in that moment. And that solution, according to our mind, is our habit that we've always done, or that we've done for some time. So our mind won't give us a choice. It won't give us a choice to do something different, because it's a bit of a one-trick pony. It's got that flavor of coping. what we have to do then is go beyond our thinking and our feelings and look to, as we've said before, those values. What's important to me? What do I want in my relationship with food and my body? Do I want to bring in compassion? Do I want to bring in health? Do I want to bring in well-being? Do I want to bring in the ability to attend to my body's needs in the best way I can? When we start to see whatever your values are, and they'll be slightly different, I suspect, for all of us. We all have different values in how we want our bodies to be treated, how we want our relationship with our body and with food to look. But when we start to see what those values are, which are not as changeable as our thinking, they're not as habitual, they're not as destructive. Values are about what is in our favor, really, what's right, what's best for us. So when we start to get in touch with our values and we can step aside and view our thinking, observe our thinking a little bit, that's when we get to see that we have some choice. But it's when we're in our thinking, we won't see a choice, we just go with it. So yes, change, recovery is a choice. But it's not as simple as, well, make the choice then, because we can't always see that we have that choice. It's only when we start to slow things down, step aside from our busy minds, our busy and difficult thoughts and feelings sometimes, and see that that part won't bring something new. But if we connect to our value system, if we think about what's in our hearts, then we start to see the choices between going with that old, unhelpful stuff that once upon a time was helpful but isn't anymore, or choosing what's right for us, what's in our best interest. And that's where the choice comes in, the choice between thought and values, the choice between habit and what's deeply right for us, what's in our best interest. And still, that choice isn't easy. Because if we go against what our mind says this is the best for you, and we go with our value system and we do something different, our mind will get really busy initially. So it's an uncomfortable choice sometimes. We're choosing to go with what's in our best interest. But in the short term, that may well ramp up those tricky emotions that we feel. I will always recommend going with choosing our value system. I will always say the short-term pain is worth the long-term gain. But that's only me saying that. And I'm not expecting everybody here to see it the same. I hope one day you will. But that's where the choice lies, is between going with the old habitual stuff that we've always done, or trying something that is from our heart, from our deeper value system that says, this is what is in my best interest in the long term. Not an easy choice, not at all, but one that I would always recommend. But it's one that we need support, that we need kindness, that we need compassion with, that we need other people to be alongside us sometimes with. It's hard to do on our own. So I don't believe that eating difficulties are a choice. I do believe that change, recovery, shift is a choice, but it's not a simple choice. And we've got to see that we have a choice to be able to make the choice first. And that's always about slowing down, stepping back, seeing what feels right for us and going with that. I hope that's helpful. If ever you have anything that you want to talk to, me to talk to, if you have any suggestions for these lives, or if you have any comments, if you have any disagreements with me, please get in touch. I value and welcome all of your comments. But for now, I'm on my way. Have a lovely weekend when it arrives, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.